Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P Farm Thinking Right out here in the lab. I got a bunch of concepts I got for you today. Ooh, this is gonna be fun. All right, doing what I do for you. Right as a 25 rule led by. Tell your storyteller, story with a message. There's a message in my stories for life. I give you life lessons. You tune into receiving them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily, will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get there together. So I ask the question: do you know you? You will when I'm through. That's what I do. It's rhetorical, but if you know how to answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is basically sleep. I can awaken them. I'm your spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers, know thyself and always too. My yacht be true. Right thinkers. I coined the phrase about 10 years ago called heart mind coherence. Okay. That was when the heart and the mind became one thinking, one connection, become godlike, spiritually, mentally, philosophically. Okay. Now I got a concept. Having spiritual and mental transformation. Having a spiritual and a mental transformation is what I call spiritual, it's inner alchemy. Alchemy is changing something that wasn't worth nothing, valueless, to something valuable. Let's work on that concept. I hope you understand it. That's where I'm at with this. I hope I can keep it going. I got the lesson laid out with that concept in mind. So understand. Right thinkers, let's talk about how your spiritual and mental transformation is inner alchemy. You're changing not just the spirit, but you're changing the thinking process too. They both have to change and become as one. All right, that's alchemy. And being changing meaning transformation, going from one thing to another, from ignorance to enlightenment. See where I'm going with this? Let's go. All right, that was the concept. I was listening to my guru who I study under. I had the concept. I had to jot it down. So let me see if I can get it while my mind is set there. All right, let's go. Transformation, again, is a process. They call alchemy, transformation, changing something from one thing to another. In the Masonic order, they teach you how to change a rough ashlar, just a piece of crud, into something that looks good and pleasing to the eye. All this is symbolical, so I hope you understand it. That's right. So transformation is a process that spiritual and mental change will make you a better person. Why? Because if your spirit is ignorant of itself, is led by the ego self, that's not good. And if you're ignorant mentally of who you are, you're led by the ego. Again, that's not good. So your spirit and your mind are being led by what? The ego. And that's not good again. So the idea is to make the transformation from being ego led to being spiritually led, enlightened by who? Your higher self, aka Haru. My personal own spiritual and mental transformation occurred. You know when? May 1st, 2010. When I had my own personal conversation. I wasn't dreaming. God came to me when I sleep. I'm wide awake. I'm coherent. I'm awoke, and I'm having a conversation with God. Okay? My brother, I told him that a long time. He said, you gonna tell people that? I said, my man, in all the books that you read, everybody talk to God. Everybody, why can't I? I'm telling you now, I had a conversation with who I think believe was God. or the God of my understanding. So again, make that point. So I personally transform spiritually and mentally, what, for the better. If you have your conversation with God, if you had a God experience, the mystical experience, the awakening, anointing, whatever you call it, Christ consciousness, and you don't change, what's the purpose of having it? The purpose of having it is for you to change. Sorry. So I'm telling you, when you got nothing else, the only way you go is up. That's when change happens for most people. And a lot of us just do it that way. Okay. I transform for the better. Why? I started living, doing what was right. And since I've obtained that knowledge of God being present in me, I've been a changed person ever since. So anybody who I hear claim to deal with, if you still the same boot, I ain't even wasting my time with you. Why? I know you did, and I know you're lying. Okay. If you had a conversation with God or you had experience with God and it don't change your life, what was the purpose of having experience? For what? What's the purpose is to change you. We are all born to what? Transform. We born baby, little bitty things, and we grow. Some of us grow immensely, but we transform on a day-to-day basis. Change is the way of life. So get used to that. But if you don't change the way you feel and the way you think, you ain't gonna change nothing about yourself. Okay? But change comes from within. From what? We're born to transform, to change, to grow. Okay? From what? Not knowing self. We born in the world, we don't know who we are. But the ego grows within us as we start maturing from 1 to 7. That becomes the ego identification with the self, and that's who you are. But that's not your whole self. That's just half. That's your lower self. Okay? So from not knowing your higher self, just knowing your lower self, to knowing your higher self, that's the transformation that we all have to make. Why? Until then, you're going to keep recycling. Why? You ain't figured this thing out yet. It's the purpose to come in the human form. Well, my mother and father got together. Yeah, but once you come and play this game called life, you got to figure it out for yourself. All that how you got here means nothing. Okay? Who brought you here only counts for how you was raised and who brought you, taught you. I learned how to be a man from my dad. My mom gave me the other side. So I'm covered from both sides. I'm protected with what? Understanding of who I am from birth from my parents. I ain't got to go to some logical story to know who I am. I got 4 generations of people that I can touch, taste, and know from my experience about my life. Moving on. So, whole bunch of stories. Yeah, but I ain't got to tell a bunch of stories. I just got to tell the truth. Enlightening yourself with spiritual knowledge, aka self knowledge. That's what God is. Learning about God is spiritual knowledge. That's the whole point about getting it, obtaining it, to use it. And when you go from being ignorant of your higher self to enlighten to your higher self, that's called self-knowledge. And when you live it and practice it, it's called self-mastery. That's the purpose of being a human being, to master this thing right here. The most sophisticated machinery known to man. And none of us don't have a clue why. It don't come with instructions, just instructors. Why? It's made for you to have to listen, reflect, and meditate. That's how you learn and acquire information. That's why. So, if your spirit is being led by your ego, mm, it will lead you astray. Why? Spirit doesn't know about it. It's going to go wherever you take it. It's following you. It's along for the ride. So if the ride is bad, it don't know the difference. It's along for the ride. So that's the part you have to what? Get conscious. So it won't just fall victim to nonsense. Okay? Wake it up. Make it conscious of who it is and the power that it possesses. When your spirit becomes enlightened, ding, 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 through your daily practice, studying and learning what you're studying, it will only do what? The right thing. I'm hell bent on doing what's right. I was hell bent on doing what's wrong. So I know the difference between the two. That's the most, you can't transform no bit different than that. From being ignorant to being enlightened. That's the biggest transformation you can have. And when it's done with self, that's what it's all about. All of us who make that transition, we can share in that. All those who haven't, what? See? Big difference. So, heart mind coherence was a phrase I coined 10 years ago because it just made sense. And the more I study, the more this, that's what they're saying. Mental, spiritual. Spiritual, mental. Don't make a difference. They still got to become what? One. Everything is from the one. And when the heart and mind works as one, that's called coherence. It means your feeling and your thinking is in harmony. A lot of times, your mind say this and your heart say that. That's confusion in oneself. We don't understand it, but that's what goes on. You don't fight with the heart and mind. That's the heart is going to win every time. Why? That's what God is. God's here too, yeah, but you got to figure him out up here. The heart, God ain't giving. He ain't changing. Okay? Let your conscience be your God. What conscience? Your heart conscience. He knows best. Ain't been wrong yet. Okay? Anything that's done from the heart can't be wrong. Why? That's divine. That's why. And understand that. That's the whole purpose. We want to know what kind of heart you got. That's all we want to know. This, if the heart is good, it's going to influence that. That's why. Okay? And if this got any sense, it'll listen to that. And that's how it's done. All right? But your spirit, once it enlightens, becomes one with what? The mind. They become one single entity, not heart and mind. No, heart, mind, coherence. They become one, becoming what? God-like in the flesh with knowledge and understanding through righteous living and studying and practicing what you know to be right. I'm only going to do what's right. Oh, you all of a sudden you hold it? No, I ain't hold it in crap. I'm just not going to do what I know is wrong. Hello, that don't make me nothing other than smart. Okay, let's work with that. Everything ain't got to be religious context. Let that go. I ain't big on that nonsense. Why? Y'all get too involved emotionally. Okay, you lose logic and rationale when you get what? Religious. So I ain't got time for that. Let's keep it rational and logical. That's where I'm at. It don't change. That's my philosophy. That's why I practice it. Okay, but transformation is having a change from one thing to another. Again, don't tell me you had God experience, you've been saved, you woke, all of a sudden you still doing the same stuff. Mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm. Simple as that. I know that. Why, I'm hell bent on that one. Okay, for a fact. We are born to change. Okay, life transformation. Just this is a must. Why? You got to know that we're gonna grow from baby to early age, adulthood, and grow. And that's the phase of life that we gotta go through. Once you're born into this game, you don't have a choice. You get with the movement or get run over again. But just like a caterpillar, I love that analogy. A caterpillar, all caterpillars don't turn to butterflies. That's not their problem. That's the individual caterpillar's problem. Why are we so hell bent on how Johnny did or what Susie doing? Self-preservation, self-knowledge. You can get all the knowledge in the world, but without self-knowledge, that all means nothing. So start with your first. Work it from inside out, not the outside in. And some people work ass backwards. But just like the caterpillar, they know their transformation is in them becoming what? A butterfly. What, before they die? That's transformation. And I just studied them. When they go into that metamorphosis, they change every aspect of their body. They go from being a little worm crawling around to a butterfly with wings and can fly airborne. That's transformation for your ass. Okay. And we as humans supposed to do the same thing spiritually, metaphorically, and consciously. Why? We supposed to become smarter, not dumber. Life's supposed to make us wiser and better so we can help the young and help them become better people. How are we doing? Not so good. Caterpillars turn to butterflies, but they all don't. But the whole purpose is to get the transformation for yourself. If you don't, you got nobody else to blame. That's why. Again, y'all talking about 144,000 going to heaven. What the hell is that? It's a lottery ticket y'all punching. Don't play numbers. I don't play lottery. I don't gamble. I don't give a damn about chance. Don't care. Moving on. But when you master yourself, when you got everything you need about you, Now you will have made what they call the transformation from what? Not knowing yourself to what? Knowing thyself. That's the human transformation that you have to make so that when this physical world, this temporary place ends, you going on back to the afterlife. Well, nobody knows what happens when we die. Okay, most ignorant people. That's what ignorant people say. So you got the right to believe that and think that's your choice. Okay, I believe otherwise. So now we'll find out when our day comes who was right and who was wrong. It ain't a good deal to find out in the end. Oh, the brother right was right. Oh well, hey, but guess what? I stood on that. You didn't. Moving on. Okay, to stand on something that's wrong, that ain't gonna help you in the end. Moving on. Oh yeah, okay. Now you gotta understand this. When when you master yourself, that means you have made the ultimate transformation for yourself, aka from the caterpillar to the butterfly. Hell, what hell left when transformed is death. To the opposite transformation, the opposite of life is death. To fear is be one of that. No, that ain't the end. That's the end of this physical life. Yeah, we know that. But those who are ignorant of the spiritual knowledge that they had, that the spirit don't die, and the consciousness, once it becomes the spirit, won't die with the spirit, it goes on. Those ignorant people die twice. Okay? Due to physicalness and ignorance. There you go. But the transformation had to be made by every individual, but what? Before they die. I went from what? Doing bad things, selling drugs and everything that would make him all that. Why? That's what I thought I was supposed to do. I was led to believe that was the right thing to do. Okay. And doing the wrong thing. Now I went from that to what? Doing the right thing, the good things. That's transformation. Simple as that. Transformation from what? From doing one thing to doing something else. I don't do the things I used to do no more. That's transformation. It's changed. I don't hang out with the people. I used to do the thing. People no more. No, why? I'm not doing that no more. Simple. All right. So we can change personally. We all have opportunity to do that, but it's all what? Self-inflicted. Your choice. Transformation, again, in alchemy, again, is taking something of little value or no value to make it valuable. That's you changing yourself from what? From lead to gold, from ignorance to enlightenment. It's all metaphorically, symbolically. But the work that you put in to do that makes it worthwhile. Trust me. And when you transform personally, that means you change the way you used to do things to doing other things other than what you used to do wrong. Now you're doing the right thing. Two caterpillars meet each other back up. Now the one caterpillar changed into a butterfly. He's strutting and stuff. He's smooth and cool. His buddy said, "Dude, you changed." He looked back and said, "Yeah, my man, we supposed to." I mean, if you ain't made your transformation in life, you still back in stuck on stupid, so to speak, metaphorically. But I use the caterpillar as a perfect example. If you still a caterpillar, that means you ain't changed yet. Okay? If you still ignorant of who you are, that means you ain't changed yet. Trust me. But when you do transform what your thinking process, your action followed by the right thinking, when you start thinking and your action become right, that's transformation from what you used to do. Not think right, not act right. That's change. But it's all predicated on you. Real transformation, real alchemy starts from the inside. It's an internal action. Outside, not what? Inside, not outside of you, the individual. Everything that you need is inside you. Did you know that? They say that, well, God gave everything you need. Yeah, we're born with everything we need. All we got to do is figure it out. That's what the work that you got to do. It's called self-effort. If there's no self-effort, there's no self-rewards. More effort, more rewards. Less effort, less reward. Again, that's karma. You reap what you sow, and you can't get around the laws that he set forth. Let me go out and wrap this up. But again, changing is the way that you changing the way you think is the way of transforming the way you do things. If you don't think different, you're not going to do things different. If the heart and the mind haven't made the transformation to become like one, you're going to have confusion within yourself. We call it an unbalanced marriage. The heart saying one thing, the mind saying something else. Mind saying this, the heart saying that. That's no balance. You want them to be harmonized. Maya, that's what it represents. And real transformation. Okay, no, changing. Okay, when you transform, you no longer do what the things you used to do. That's part of, you can't say I changed and still doing the same stuff. Self-knowledge is being responsible for your actions, your thoughts, and everything thereof. So when you have mastered yourself, that means you got yourself together. That's all that means. That's all it means. You got you together. So when it's time to stand on who you are, you can do that on your own. Why? Take the heart. Well, my heart is good. My heart is pure. I do what I say what I do. Simple. Those people have no problem. Those who want you to believe all of that is the lies and the BS. Just leave them alone. Why? They got to deal with that on their own. They're responsible. Don't let them take you to hell with them because that's where they're going. And if you subscribe to what they're doing, you're going with them too. You hang out with me, you going where I go. If you do the things you need to do, I'm trying to tell you that. Simple as that. I ain't going to hell. I can tell you that. Moving on. Self-knowledge means you what? Gain knowledge that you learn for yourself. And now you can speak and know the truth what? For yourself. And if I got to tell you, you know it for yourself. That's the mastery of self. That's the purpose of what? Self-mastery, to get it for yourself. Self-knowledge, there we go again. And the purpose of gaining and mastering it is what? Going from learning something in a book or being told something to what? Having your own experience of it. That's self-knowledge, aka gnosis. By what experience? When you have your own God experience, when you have your own God, that's it right there. Now that you have that, the question, what you gonna do with it? Okay, I've been doing this ever since. So I can answer that question. I'm still doing it. So moving on. My self-knowledge comes from what? My self-experiences. Hence, self-knowledge. You can't have self-knowledge from somebody else. Only what I experience do I claim knowledge of. That's it. When your spirit is woken and your mind is doing its job, then you know thyself. Heart, mind, coherence gives you what? Intuitive knowledge, what that you have already inside you. Now you know for yourself what? Through experience. Reaching the level of self-knowledge was called nihas in ancient times. Now we call it spiritual awakening, the anointing, Christ consciousness. You can call it whatever you want. Okay, and everybody do, but the idea is to reach it for what? Oneself. Okay? Now, the ultimate transformation in life is to know thyself. Taking it home. If you don't understand that, if that ain't in your, you need to start thinking twice. Why? Because you ain't thinking right if you don't think that. Being enlightened, aka being woke, becoming conscious, all these just phrases that okay, we all said using different words to say the same thing. What? Having your spiritual and mental transformation is your inner alchemy because you are the one who creating it. You're the one that's making it happen. Hope you got the message. Hope you understood the lesson. I'm just trying to give you a concept that if you use it, trust me, it'll work for you too. In closing, right thinkers, man, y'all live to be 100 me, 100 minus a day. So I know my right thinkers who know having that spiritual and mental transformation is inner alchemy passed away. Become your own alchemist.